My name is Greg. Welcome to Stir Up the Paint Virtual. It's one of our free events that we're doing once or twice a week. So welcome. We're going to go over a few things and then we'll start. I want you to give just a sample of what we do here, so you can see how we stir it up here at Stir Up the Paint. All right. We are going to be painting Life's a Beach. Yes, a beach. B-E-A-C-H. Wouldn't you love to be there right now, sitting under this umbrella, waiting for the sailboat to come and pick you up, right? I would love. The first thing I'm going to do when we can travel again is I am going somewhere tropical. I don't care where. Anywhere tropical. And I'm going to enjoy, and I'm going to sit under an umbrella just like this and relax and kick back and hear the sound of the waves and feel the warm sand against my body. Yes, I'm looking forward to that. All right, so let's go over a few materials. I have a 12 by 16 canvas. You can use whatever size you want. You might have a 16 by 20. It's all good. You guys can follow me. You guys can do your own thing. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to teach you technique. We teach a lot more technique here at Stir Up the Paint. So you're going to learn technique and you can apply the technique your own way. So if you want more of a peach, orangey sunset, you want something different, feel free to go ahead and do that. I'm going to teach you how to mix colors and do all those things and how to use them. And then you can utilize them any way that you wish and you want to. All right. So we have some brushes here, you guys. I have 3. I have a flat tip brush. This guy. I'm going to do most of the base coat, which is going to be in my blues and my teals, okay? And then I'm going to use my other 2 brushes to define some things, use the umbrellas, the tinier brushes to do the sailboat, put in some waves and some other things. All right, my paint palette. I don't have any black in this painting. These umbrella stems here are actually purple. They are purple, okay? They are not black. You can do them black, but I think they'll be a little bit heavy. But again, up to you. Do whatever you wish, okay? All right, so here's our palette. So I don't have any black in this painting. So my palette is white, yellow, red, and blue. I use a Phthalo Blue. It's P-H-T-H-A-L-O. It's the weirdest spelling in the world, but we pronounce it phthalo. For the longest time, I used to pick it up at the store, and I'd ask for Phthalo. And they were like, what? I'm like, Phthalo. And they're like, what, you mean phthalo? I'm like, yeah, okay. Phthalo, but it's spelled really weird. Phthalo Blue is great because you add a little bit of yellow to it and you get a really nice turquoise. You get these nice turquoise colors. So that's why I like to use Phthalo Blue. You can still get some turquoise colors with other blues, okay? But I'm just letting you know that Phthalo Blue will give you that beautiful turquoise. Now you'll notice there's no room to mix on my plate. Like there's no room, okay? So, I have a couple of mixing plates so I can mix my paint, right? Because I don't have enough room on my plate that holds my paint. Okay. All right, I have my paint water. This guy has been used a million times. So I probably won't be too confused drinking out of it, but sometimes I have been known to drink out of my paint water. So it's always nice to keep your brushes, in your water the whole time. It's much harder to drink out of your paint water with brushes in them, I can tell you. Much harder unless the brush goes up your nose, and yeah, it can be kind of complicated. So, not fun to drink your paint water. You won't die, but it's not fun. All right, I have a towel that I'm going to be wiping some of my paint off of. Also, you guys, for clouds, the tips of the clouds here, to get those little bits of white in the clouds here. I can put a little bit of white and I can blend down with a Q-tip. It gives you a really nice blend. Sometimes the brushes can be just a little bit too heavy, especially if you're not used to the brushes and you're not used to painting all the time. So I like to use Q-tips just to give a nice soft blend. And off we go. All right. See if you guys have any questions. I don't see any questions so far. So far so good. Okay. If you do have any questions though, you can type them into the comment line and I'll see it and I'll talk through things. And if you need me to slow down or whatever you need. Also, this is being recorded. It's going to be loaded up to YouTube. And also will be live on our page so you guys can see it anytime that you want. So you can stop and start if you feel like things got a little bit too fast for you. All right? Okay. So another important thing that I like is my libation, right? I'm not going to drink it now, but in a little bit I will. But it's nice to have, you know, a little something to sip and kind of release a little bit of the inhibitions and just relax a little bit. That's why we call it paint and sip. And sometimes, you know, by loosening up a little bit, you can go a little further with your painting, explore a little bit more. The inhibitions are, you know, not quite so prevalent. All right. So anyway, so I'll leave you guys. I'll cheers to you later on when I'm ready to take a sip, probably somewhere around 5:30 or something like that. Okay. All right. Cool. So mixing. Let's talk about mixing. All right. So blue and red is purple. We do have purple here where our umbrella stems are, okay? So blue and red is purple. Again, blue is really strong, so you're going to have to add a little bit more red in it to get that really nice purple, okay? Also, red and yellow is orange. You have an umbrella here, right? You have an umbrella here that is orange, right? So more yellow, less red will give you a nice orange. Red is really strong. If you mix red and yellow together, you're going to get red. It's just the way it is. So you want to just use like a little bit of red and then more yellow. And then you get a nice orange color, okay? Blue and yellow is green. We have a green umbrella here. And again, blue is very strong. So just a little bit of blue, more yellow gives you a nice green. Anything you have white to gets lighter. So white to blue would be baby blue. White to red would be pink, okay? So just keep that in mind. We're going to add a lot of white to our turquoise. When we mix the blue with a little bit of yellow, we're going to get a nice teal color, and then we're going to add white to that. Sometimes you can mix right onto your canvas, and sometimes you can mix right onto your plate. So I'm going to start with some blues up here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of white to it, just so it's not so strong, so it doesn't look like nighttime, okay? All right, so I'm going to take my medium flat brush here, my biggest brush, right? And I'm going to go into my blue, and I'm going to put a little bit on my plate like here. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to it. Add a little bit of white to it. And I'm going to mix it. It's still pretty dark. Look at how strong the blue is. So I can add a little bit more white to that. And then also like the edges of the brush here, you know, all the way down, because blue can get caught in all parts of the brush there. All right, cool. And then all I'm going to do is start painting. I'm going to go right about here. So a little bit above halfway. A little bit above halfway, okay? And I'm just going to fill that in with blue. You don't need a ton of paint. Don't need a ton of paint, right? So I'm just going to fill this in with blue all the way to the top. In case you're wondering, we're listening to Echo Smith Radio today. Echo Smith Radio. All right, cool. Again, I have not dipped into my blue again. Right? I just continue to spread it around, so I'm not going too heavy with the paint. And I was able to cover all of that. Yeah. I was able to cover all of that, which is really cool. Okay. Just going a little bit lower here. What I did is I just took a little bit of darker blue, right? A little bit of darker blue. What did I do? I established my horizon line where my water is going to be. So a little bit of darker blue there. Okay. When I say a little bit of darker blue, I just mean that you can go into your blue and add a little bit of what you already mixed. Just make it a little bit darker. Right? You're not adding so much white. Get a nice horizon line there. then the rest of it, you guys, the rest of it is just going to be teal. It's just going to be teal. So I have my blue already mixed in here, right? So I've got blue, a little bit of white, right? Now if you add a little bit of yellow to that, not a ton because it'll turn green, just a little bit of yellow. Get a really nice teal color. See how that's changing, right? Little bit of yellow there, starts to change. And then I'm going to add some white to it. I really want this teal to be super, super light. Look at how light this is, see? Super, super light in here, right? Really light, so lots of white. We're just going to do the whole thing all the way down. We're going to put our shoreline in later. We're going to put our clouds in later. So don't worry about that right now, okay? Actually, don't worry at all. Just have fun and enjoy the journey. If you have any questions, just type them in there and I'll answer them. We'll go back and forth. The difference between a Facebook Live event and one of our Zoom events, where you would pay $10 online, is that we can see you in the Zoom room, we can see you painting, we can see your paintings back and forth, and we can give you feedback and we can see what you're doing with your brush strokes and everything that's going on. And so it's a lot more interactive in a different way. Okay, or we can personally be with you. It's a little bit more like a live event, even though it's virtual. So just keep that in mind, that it's mostly me just blabbing, right? But in a Zoom event would be very different, where we would actually talk to each other. You'd show me your painting. Some people actually paint facing the camera, and so I can actually see them, and I can see every brush stroke they make, and it's actually really, really cool. Okay, so teal, right? Now, if you feel like it's still blue, like I still feel like this is still really, really blue, I'm going to add just a little bit more yellow to it. Now I'm starting getting that kind of greenish blue, right? And again, I'm going to add some white to it, more white. Really needs to be light. Really needs to be light. You still want to keep that color in there. There we go. But you really want it to be light, 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 light. I'm going to add a little more yellow to it. Really starting to get that color that I want. Still adding more white. The blue is really strong, and you want it to be really, really light. I'm going to add a little bit more yellow to it. Now I'm really getting that beautiful teal color. Add more white to it. See, I'm really getting that nice teal color. Yay. All right. Now I can put it on my canvas. All right. Here we go. And I'm leaving just a little bit of that dark line, a little bit of that C line. I'm leaving it there, see? I'm leaving it there, and I'm going below that. You guys can see that? Cool. All right, the rest of it's just going to be teal. All the way down. Teal, teal, teal. Right? I love this teal color, it's so cool. All right. Teal, teal, here we go. Now it's okay when you dip into it, if you get a little bit of some different colors of teal, that's okay too. Like, I'm starting to get low in it, so I can go in and just add some white to it. Add some white to it, and I can continue on spreading it down my canvas. And it's okay that, like, it's a little bit different teal colors, right? All right. All right, getting to the bottom of it here. I'm just gonna lift it off the easel just a little bit. And I'm evening out my line at the top here just a little bit. There, nice and teal. I've got a little bit of that dark line I was talking about, that ocean line, right? You can see that a lot in the Caribbean, that it looks very teal, you know, in front of you, and then further away it gets a little bit darker, right? All right. Good. You can all see that? Yes. Yes, good. All right. You can let that dry just a little bit, right? If you want, if you feel like you weren't really heavy with the paint, you can always do this. We call it drink and dry, right? So you can do this, have a little sip. Speaking of sip, I think I am going to have some wine. I think I'm ready. I'm ready to partake in my libation. All right. I'm also like a really clean artist. It's really weird. I don't like getting paint everywhere, so I'm always like wiping everything in. I've been in clean mode. I don't know about you guys during COVID, but I'm just like, I'm cleaning like every corner, the baseboards. Like I'm like Mr. Clean. I don't know what happened. Not that I was dirty before, but my house is like spotless right now. And when I go for walks, I see like everybody's garden is like manicured and perfect. And you know, we've all had time to stay at home, and obviously there are some benefits to that. Definitely. All right, cool. All right, you guys. Cheers to you. Love and light. May you stay healthy and happy. And, you know, go for your dreams. Be inspired and take big steps and big risks in life. And I hope you achieve everything you wish for. Oberon, it's called. Wow. Oberon reminds me of the fairy in Midsummer Night's Dream in Shakespeare. And let me tell you, this tastes pretty darn magical. Oberon, I'm liking you tonight. Yummy. All right. So just let that dry a little bit. Let you guys probably still painting just a little bit, so no problem. Then what we're going to do is later on we're going to put our shoreline in here, right? We're going to put our shoreline in here. We have a little bit of shoreline right at the bottom of the painting too, right here. Put a little bit here. So we're going to put that in. We're going to dry brush some of our clouds. It's going to be really, really, really cool. It's going to look good. Now remember with the clouds, we're going to start with the clouds and put them in. Remember, if that blue line gets weird or uneven, because blue is so powerful, all you have to do is put that blue line back in and even it out. That's it. Okay? All right. So let me rinse out my big brush here. Now it's always good with clouds. It's always good to go in with the baby blue and add some white to it later. A lot of people think that in order to do happy clouds, right, that you go in with this white, and you really don't. You really don't. You can see there's a lot of baby blue. A lot of baby blue in my clouds. And there's white like at the tips. Okay, so you can see how that works there. So you can put little accents in little pieces. If you look up to the sky and you look at clouds, sometimes a couple of them are lit and the others are not as vibrant. And that's what kind of gives it life. All right? Okay, cool. So, also remember with the clouds, remember that there are swirls and dips in them, right? So they're not like, right? They dip in like this. All right. So we're going to take one of our rounds. I have two, right? I have one that's really small, a detailed one, right? And I have the bigger one. So I'm going to use the bigger one, this one. I feel like I'm hypnotized. Watch the brush. You are now going to paint like Van Gogh. You are Van Gogh. Alright. Okay, so we're using this brush. Yeah, I'm a little wacky, whatever. So what, right? I embrace my weirdness, whatever that may mean. Alright, here we go. Oberon, I love you. Okay. White. A smidge, itsy bitsy teeny weeny bit of blue. Okay? It's really very white. Okay? Very, very white. But you want a little bit of blue in there. You want a little bit of blue in there. Yes. You want a little bit of blue in there. Alright. So watch. I'm going to take my brush. I'm just going to do a little cloud layer, like right across my darkest part of my water. Now pressure matters, right? Pressure does matter with the brush. And then I've got some swirly things. Swirly, swirly, goes a little bit lower here. Swirly up here. Swirly, and then down. And I can start to fill that in a little bit. See, I can do like a little swirl. But I'm not grabbing more paint, okay? I'm not grabbing more paint. I'm blending down from where those clouds are. Blending down, down. That's what gives it that real natural beauty, is that I'm running out of paint. And that's what you want. See how I'm scraping? Scraping. Literally, you can hear me scraping. See how some of them are left a little bit whiter than others, right? Now look at the blue line. It's not even, right? It's not even. So I can go back in and touch up some of the blue later on. But that's it. You want them to be a little bit translucent, not so white, 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 right? Cool. And the cool thing is, now that I've run out of paint and I don't have a lot of paint, now is a good time to do some wispies up at the top when the brush is really, really dry. So you can just scrape like this, look, really light. I can just scrape. See how I'm scraping? It's just leaving just a little bit of paint. Just a little bit. That's it. Just a little bit of paint left on my brush. And I'm getting those nice wispy clouds in there. That's with like really very little paint. Very, very little paint. Now what happens if you get too much wispy, right? You get too much white in there and you don't like it, what would you do? Put your baby blue back in and wipe them out. Your baby blue is strong. It's a powerful color, okay? So you wanted to make your wispies a little bit stronger. You know, you want to make just a couple of the edges stronger. You can go into your white just a little bit and just like do a little touch and then push it back. Go really soft with the brush though. Go really, really soft with the brush. And you get to really nice wispy clouds. Just go really, really soft with the brush. Okay? Now this guy, so for instance, this guy here, I feel like it's, you know, it's a little strong. So what would I do if I felt it was a little strong? I could take my blue back in, right? You just mellow it out, wipe it out. See how I did that? Right? Nice and wispy. Cool. So that's how you can come and go with that. You can add more white into there. You can add more blue into there. Right? And if you get too much white and you don't like it, just take a little bit of your blue and put it back in. That's it. And that's happy clouds, really. I mean, that's really how it goes. And then what you can do on some of the tips, what I like to do is just a few tips. I take the Q-tip and I highlight. I dip into my white just a little bit, and I can take some tips, and I dab, take just some tips here and blend down. Isn't that cool? Just take a little Q-tip, do it like just a little bit on the tip. You want that nice rounded, see I'm getting like really nice and bumpy. See how round this guy is, how round he is? You know, I could do like a little piece. Just a little bit of paint here. You can do like a little piece here. guy over here? You know, just make it a little bit bumpy. Add some curves to it. See, that's looking Caribbean, right? All right, cool. Now again, your blue line, right? You want to go back in with your blue line and just even it out. You know, you can do that. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take the same round brush, this guy. I'm just going to go into my blue. Now, it wasn't a straight blue, but it had a little bit of white in it, remember? Right? A little bit of white in it. It's about like that, right? A little bit of white in it. And I'm just going to go in and put a little bit of the blue back in. Just where I feel like it, you know, got a little bit soft with the clouds. It was that summer, I loved you now, like it was my own. I still remember that first September. And that way the line can get nice and even. See? Right. What I did is I just straightened out the line here, just straightened it out. So I have that nice horizon line, right, coming in. All right. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right, so you got some happy little clouds there. You got some nice light in the clouds from the Q-tip. Things are looking cool. All right, I'm going to rinse off my small round brush, because I'm going to use my small round brush, you guys. I'm going to use my small round in my painting to create my shoreline. Yeah, I'm going to create my shoreline, which is going to be really, really cool. All right, here we go. Rinse it off really, really well, because it has a lot of blue on it. Wipe it off on your towel, right? All right, cool. Now, you want that creamy kind of light brown color, right? You want that creamy color. So what I do is I mix red and yellow with just a touch of blue, like just a little bit of blue, just a touch. And I get this nice brown color, this light brown, right? So it's red, yellow, more yellow than red, more red, more yellow. More yellow than red, okay? So more yellow than red, and it's just a touch of blue, you get this nice light brown. So red, yellow, more yellow than red, just a touch of blue. And then you can take some white. It's going to layer in a little bit darker at the beginning, and then we're going to layer over it. We're going to layer over it and create some more white. All right. So it's going to look just a little bit creamier and darker going in first, right? So here comes the shoreline, right? So I'm going to go in like this. Looks like it comes down like this. A couple little pieces. Comes out like this. And then it comes down like that. And I'm just going to fill it in. Just going to fill it in from there, okay? All right. And now we're gonna line it. We're gonna do other things with it after. But right now we're just gonna fill it in. It's gonna be a little bit darker, not completely even. So when I say not completely even, I mean there's little bumps in the shoreline there. Little bumps, right? So it's not like a line. We're not creating a line. It's like little rivets, right? Little rivets in it. All right, cool. And I'm just going down, filling it in, and I'm brushing away from the shoreline, right? Away from the shoreline. So I'll have a little bit more. Cool. And then just a little bit on the bottom. Just a little bit on the very bottom here. Just to give it a little sliver of some shore. right here. That's it. Right? It's a little bit at the bottom. This light is just a little bit too bright. I can see like a flare coming off of it. So I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. I think that will be better. Okay. So when I'm close to you guys, not so bright. See how you guys can see it. Okay. You can see a little bit of the shoreline there, right? Okay. Just a little sliver at the bottom. Just a little sliver. And a little bit on the right side. So just a little bit, like just kind of peeking out. That's a little bit on the bottom. Just a little bit on the bottom. Now, look at how creamy and dark that is comparatively speaking to the other painting, right? The master painting. And it looks like this shoreline actually goes out quite a bit. Goes out quite a bit. So I extended it just a little bit. Extended this right to about here. You can see the master painting how far it is, right? Right? So it's pretty far. And then you have waves and other things that soften it. Notice how we're going to whitewash some of this color in here to make this teal pop inside here. This part can be really cool. Okay. All right. Now you guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer in some white over that. Direct white right on my brush here. And I'm going to start to lighten this up a little bit. It's going to be a lot whiter away from the water, meaning over here it's going to be a lot whiter. And here, not as white, but we're still going to put white up there, right? See what I'm doing? Right? See what I'm doing? I'm just making that a little bit whiter because it's that white, beautiful Caribbean sand. Now you can leave a little bit of darkness. Don't go all the way out because it creates a liner for your sand. Okay? Creates a liner for your sand. See how I leave a little bit of darkness there underneath? I don't layer it all in white. Here, you have your liner right in there. You have your shore liner. Okay, so it's really cool. All right, so I'm going in more, and I'm going to continue adding white. And just brushing back from, away from the shore. See, I'm just layering in that white. You're getting that nice Caribbean shoreline in there. And I'm going to continue doing that. Continue coming down here, doing it here, right? And again, leave a little bit of that liner, meaning a little bit of that darker color right underneath. It's really nice. Leaving a little bit of that darker color right underneath. See here? Right? And then I'm going to do it to this guy here too, down here. I'll just hold it. It'll be easier. See a little bit of the short line right below there. But what I like about leaving the dark there is you have a little bit of a liner, which is really nice. I like that. I I like that touch. Okay. You want to make sure, obviously, that you have enough room, enough land for 3 umbrellas, right? So I look at my land, I have one here, one here. Yeah, I'm probably in good shape there, right? If I wanted to make this a little bit wider, you know, I could. But I have enough. Yeah. All right. And again, you know, you can keep adding a little bit of white in there. Some parts are going to be, you know, extra white. Your creamy brown is still going to continue to mix. So you're going to get all this texture by layering in a little bit of your white there. So some parts will look whiter than some parts won't. You can see the brush strokes in there. Just kind of cool. See the texture in there? I love the texture. I love the highlights and the lowlights. It's all contrasting highlights, so you're leaving a little bit of that liner in there, and you're adding a little bit more white in a couple other spots, and it gives you a really beautiful texture. It's really, really nice. And like at the very, very tip, and I'm going to add just a little bit more white, like the tip here, just to make the tip pop a little bit. The tip of my little island here feels like an island, has like an island feel to it. So added just a little white to the tip there. Just to the tips. Because they're like almost, you know, kind of getting washed by the water and the sand washing up in the waves. It's just really, really cool. Okay. So that's the shore, and that's why we put it in, you know, that's why we put it in after, because now you've got that beautiful teal color already, which is really cool. And then we can whitewash a lighter teal in here, and then keep some of your darker teal next to the island. It's going to be really, really cool. We're going to do that next. We are going to do that next. So I'll give you guys a couple minutes just to catch up, if you need to catch up, and then we'll move on. All right. All right. Are you guys doing good? Yeah? All right. All right. Sounds good. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. Look at this light. This thing is like so, I mean, I could be like the sunlight. This thing is so bright. It's like so bright. I really like it. Because pretty soon it's going to be daylight savings, and I live in Seattle, so it's going to be really dark in here right around the time that I want to do these events. So I want to make sure that, you know, it's not too dark. It's really bright. Okay. Cool. So now I'm going to take some lighter teals, and I washed in some lighter teals, and again, we're creating a little bit more of that texture that I was talking about earlier, right? A little bit of that texture. Now we're going to use this brush, our medium flat brush, right? We're going to use it like this, and we're going to just brush in some lighter teal color, right? Brush in just on a couple of areas, right? Just like the whole thing really on the left side all the way across, just to give it sort of that whitewash wave feel, like things are getting really thinner near the shore, okay? So I'm going to make some teal. Here's my blue and just a little bit of yellow, right? Just a little bit of yellow. You really need a ton of white, ton of white. So notice what I did is I mixed it here, and then I moved my brush over here, because this is the teal I'm going to use. If I continued mixing in here, it would stay too dark. So I jumped and separated once I added white, went over in here, So I get that really nice white teal. It's going to be a lot lighter than my teal in here. It's going to be a lot lighter than my teal in here. Look, watch. See? Just really, really light, but look at that whitewash. See, I'm getting that nice wash in there, right? And it's okay that it's leaving a little bit of blue and some other colors. That's cool. If you want that wash, you want that nice light wash, so I'll add some white to that. Nice and white. It's okay that you can go into the island. It's all right. Really, really light. Look. Light, light. Look. Really, really light. Look at that. So now you've got that darker already in place because it was your original teal, right? See how that works? Isn't that cool? All right. I can just keep washing that in, washing that in. You don't want to do too much. You don't want to go too close to the shore, right? Not too close. See how I'm just dry brushing? Isn't that cool? You can see on the master painting too, you have like that whitewash and then those other darker colors, right? And it's a little bit more pronounced on the master painting. So all they did is just added a little bit more white where my teal is, right? So I have my teal. If I added a little bit more white to it, right? Add a little bit more white to it, gets even lighter, right? Even lighter, look. Just start on the left side and go in. Just be really light with the brush. Really, really light with the brush. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. You've got that nice whitewash in there, right? Now, if you don't like it, if you don't like your whitewash, what would you do? You just put your original color back in, right? Your original teal back in. But that looks cool. If you wanted to, what I like to do is you can add a little bit of wave right at the tip. I like to do that. I think it's really, really pretty. Add just a little bit of some white just on the tips of where the island is. Not all over, just in a couple places. Less is more, right? Being really subtle with this is key, so less is more. All right, so I'm going to go into my white. My smallest brush, right, this guy. And I'm going to wipe off some of the paint on the edge of my brush. I don't want a ton of paint. Don't want a ton of paint, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and just put a little bit of like a wave coming in. Really, really small. Right? Just a little bit, like a little wave like coming in. Just kind of lining the little bit of the island. You guys see that? Just a little bit of a wave coming in. Just a little bit of a wave. Really, really soft. Nothing major, right? You can include it coming out all the way out here, right? All the way out here, all the way out here. Okay. Just a little bit of wave action. It's kind of nice. All right, cool. It's getting that nice kind of Caribbean feel. It's nice. Whitewash a little bit more. A few little waves. I'm just whitewashing a little bit of my white that's really running off my brush. I'm dry brushing really. And I'm just putting in a little bit in here. Notice how I went all the way out in here, all the way out. Now remember, you can blend it with the Q-tip, you can blend it with a paper towel if you feel like you get too much and you're not loving it, okay? You can definitely see how it's lighter and then it's darker, like right in here, right? All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna change this song and fast forward it. All right, cool. All right, we're going to move on to our umbrellas, huh? Our umbrellas. Now remember with the wave stuff, you guys, it's super, super fun, and you can create all kinds of wave action. You can do little itty bitty ones like this. Here, I'll just show you. You know, way far away. Go into your white, wipe it off, right? And you can do, hey Shannon, how are you, babe? Love and light to you. So if you wanted, even though we don't have it in the master painting, if you wanted to, right, you could do like little itty bitty, you know, little tiny waves coming out in here, right? Just to show it a little bit of activity, right? It's really, really delicate with the brush. Look at how delicate. I mean, super delicate, right? Really, really, really delicate in there. If you wanted some additional, you know, just wanted a little bit of additional wave action, a little bit of additional activity, you just, you know, just really, really light though, you guys. Now, what would happen like if I got a big blotch like that and I didn't like that, right? What would I do? So all you have to do, guys, is you go in with your other brush, your other round, right? You have teal, right? And so all you would do is go into your teal, and if it's dry, just make a little bit more. Mine was dry. So remember, it's that phthalo blue, a little bit of yellow, right? And then you add a little bit of white, right? Then you can go in, just go right over that white part. And it's gone. It's gone. Okay? It's gone. So that's how you can go back and forth. You guys can always put in your original color, right? You put your original color back, and voila, you are golden. Golden. So play around. I want you to explore doing some other things with the waves and stuff. I don't want you to be safe, right? There's no fun in being safe. I want you guys to explore and see what the paint can do. And if you don't like certain things, put your original color back in and play. Bring that childlike essence that lives inside of you and bring it forward so that it's vibrant and alive, because that's what painting is. It's letting go of all those inhibitions and becoming our child again. It's awesome. Okay, so let's move on to the umbrellas, okay? The umbrellas. And don't forget, you guys, you know, the umbrellas go pretty high, right? Look, 1, 2, 3. So this one's pretty high in the sky. So we'll do the umbrella stems first. We'll do those first, those little poles, and then we'll add the color. And I'll do one at a time. I'll do the red one, and then I have a fruit fly in my wand. Let me get him out. 1 second. Fruit fly season has been so bad this year. It's been like crazy. They have like, this time of year, it's like crazy, crazy, crazy. All right, I got him. I got him. I remember we used to do events at this winery called Ward Johnson Winery, and they would, there was harvest this time of year, and we'd go into the winery, and there were like all these fruit flies like everywhere. People would have to use coasters and put them over their wine so that the fruit flies wouldn't get into the wine. It was crazy. I don't know why it's so bad in Seattle, but we know we don't have much. We don't have cockroaches and lots of weird things that humid climates have, so I'm blessed and grateful. But right now it's turning fall, and the leaves are changing, and it's absolutely stunning. Fall is my favorite time of year. So anyway, so no fruit flies. Okay. Now remember I talked about the stems being purple, right? Not black. The stems are purple, right? They're purple. Okay, purple. All right, so I'm gonna go in first. Just keep in mind, just a couple things to walk you through before we start. When you do the umbrella, it's a triangular shape right here and here, but there's a darker red underneath that gives it a little bit of that layer and texture. And there's a little bit of highlight, just a little bit on top. Again, just gives it a little bit of layer and texture. All of them have that highlight on top. All of them have that darker shade underneath. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, and I'm gonna do the pole at my easel. If I did it standing up here, would it be like boo? It'd be a little weird. So again, I'm just gonna take my tiniest brush that I have, this guy. Okay, this guy right here. All right, I'm gonna rinse him off because I have a lot of white. I have this seagull outside. I've been feeding the seagulls during COVID because the restaurants don't have food, the trash isn't full, and people aren't walking. So they've been really hungry. So this one guy has decided that like this is his home, and when any other bird comes along, he screams and does this yelling thing. It's really like he's basically telling everyone like this is his home and everybody needs to go away. And he'll like sit here the rest of the night. He'll sit here and he'll just be seated, and he'll watch everybody come by. And if someone comes too close, he stands up and he does this scream thing. I don't know. It's crazy. Once everything goes back to normal, I think I need to stop feeding all the birds because I like a bird sanctuary outside my house. All right. I love the animals. Sometimes I love the animals more than people, but don't tell me. All right. So remember, more red than blue, right? It gives you that nice purple. Okay. Now remember also, we don't need all that paint on our brush. So wipe some of it off. And I'm going to start pretty high up into my sky. I'm going to start pretty high. I'm just going to come down, little brush stroke. Boom. Right? There it is there. And then right to the side of it, just to embed it into the sand, I can just do a little shadow right off to the side of it. And that just embeds it into the sand. Boy, I wish I was there right now. I wish I were there. So nice. Okay. And actually, I'm going to do each umbrella first, just because some of them are kind of stacked closer together, rather than do all the poles together. All right. So I'm going to go into my red. And it's okay that my red has a little bit of blue in it, because it's a really rich red anyway, right? And I'm just going to do the base right across the top, meaning the line that goes right into the pole there. Just the base, right? Looks like a T. All right. And then I'm going to create that triangle. Top of the middle coming down. Top of the middle coming down. I'm going to fill it in. Oh, I love this umbrella. I just love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just want to be under it right now. So you can even it out. You can see the length of it. You can see what's happening with the lines. You can even it out. You can extend the edges out, right? Now remember I said darker underneath, right? So you can add a little bit of blue to your red, just a tinge. So a little bit of blue, and then add a little bit more red, right? Add a little bit more red. So what I did is I just added just a touch of blue in there, because we don't have any black in this painting, right? And so that makes the red a little bit richer. And I'm just going to go across the bottom, just a little bit of a darker color. Just across the bottom here. now I'm going to mix just a little bit of white to my red. Just a little bit of white. What happens is a little bit of the clouds start to peek through a little bit because the paint is translucent. You can see that. So if we add a little bit of white to our red, that will get rid of that. We can just fill that in. White has a tendency to get rid of that translucent, that translucent feel to it, right? So it's no longer, right? It's no longer peeking through. All right? Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Just going to fill that in a little bit. I'm still leaving that darker part, right? Still leaving that darker part underneath so it pops a little bit. And then it's nice to have a little bit of highlights like on the top, you know, where the sun is like hitting it. So you can see here on this umbrella, like it has a little white dot. It has some highlight coming down, right? Highlight coming down, and just like a few lines. You know, so I can just take like a little bit of pink. I am going to do the dot in white. Just a little dot to simulate the top of it. Right? And then I can wipe that off a little bit on my towel and just do a few little highlights coming down. Just really light. You don't need a lot of paint, right? Do not need a lot of paint. If you get too much of the highlight, you would just put your original red back in, and it's all good. All right, cool. All right. Let's do the next one. The next one, okay. Our purple again, right? Lots of red, lots of red. Right? Lots of red. Now this one's half the size as the other one. Half the size. So I'm going to move over, give it some space, right? And I'm going to come down. I'm going to go really, really light. So pressure matters as far as the pole here, right? Pressure matters. And then again, I'm just going to go off, create a little bit of a shadow. Right? Okay, this one is green. The second one's green, so I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other one, right? I'm going to just make it a darker green, blue and yellow. Make it a darker green. Then, I'm going to fill it all in. I'm going to do, remember the base first. I'm going to do the baseline first. Right? Baseline first. Looks like a T. And then that triangle shape, right? I'm going to get that triangle shape in there. I'm just going to fill it in. Boom. Umbrella number 2. Right? All right. And again, white tip, right? White tip. Little bit of highlights, so white tip, little bit of highlights coming down. Again, keeping that base darker green underneath, right? Keeping that base darker green underneath. See how that pops a little bit? I so want to be there right now. I so want to be there right now. Oh my goodness. And then the third one we're going to do even smaller. I'm going to rinse off my brush. The third one I'm going to do even smaller. I'm going to do the pole again, and then the shadow off to the side, right? In purple. And I have some purple already here. So I'm going to go right into that. I'm going to go a little bit smaller here. got the shadow there, right? And this one's going to be orange. Now remember, you guys, with the orange, super important with the orange, and this is going to merge a little bit into the green, which is kind of fun. So you'll cut off a little bit. But remember, with the orange, more yellow, less red, right? And you can add a little bit of white to it while the sun is shining on the sound right now, and it's like a light in between the clouds. It's really, really pretty. All right, so lots of yellow, just a touch of red, look, just a touch. Get a really nice, beautiful orange. Add some white to that. Add some white to that. Get a really nice, light orange. Okay, really nice. That's what we're going to use for the top of the umbrella. But remember, the base, you guys, is a little bit darker, right? So you can just take a little bit of red off to the side. So this is the top of the umbrella right here. And the base, the bottom of the umbrella is here. Remember, it's just a little bit darker. We're going to go across, do the base. Right, there's the base. Now it's going to merge into that other umbrella too, when we do the triangle and come down. So I'll show you what that looks like. So when I go to do the triangle, actually I was pretty good. Almost, not quite. It's actually pretty good. Okay, so take your light orange and fill all that in. Right? Take your light orange, fill all that in, and then you'll get that nice base line underneath. That beautiful orange pops, right? Oh, that looks so tranquil. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Loving it. Now, remember, you guys can always put more light on the top if you want more light. Like, for instance, my red one, right? If I wanted to add, because you can always put your original color back in, you guys. So there's no worry at all of going back and forth and having a little fun. Right? Just having a little fun. So if I wanted a little bit more pinks in my umbrella just to show a little bit of light, you know, I could do that. Just like, you know, where the sun's hitting it a little bit. Just kind of come down. Just a little bit, not too much, right? Just to get a little bit of light. See? Makes it a little bit alive. Just little techniques that I'm teaching you guys that you can apply and do on your own, do yourself, just so you know you guys can enjoy. All right? All right. How are we liking the umbrellas, huh? Yeah? It's like, oh, I'm loving it right now. I'm loving it. This on. Okay. Now, the little sailboat, you guys, is super, super easy. So it has a little bit of an arch to it, right? So it comes down and it arches, right? So it's rounded. Straight line down. So rounded, straight line down, boom. And it has a little bit of blue underneath it, and then we do a couple little waves. That's it. That's it. We take our little tiny brush, our small one, right? Go into our white, right? Go into our white. Here we go, right? Right here. So it comes down and it rounds, right? Nice and round. And then you go straight down. So nice and pointy, straight down, and then across and fill it in. Right? So you have this nice rounded. And then just pointy at the top. Running out of white paint here. Nice and pointy at the top. All right, here we go. right? Just a little slanted there, right? And then I put a little bit of blue right underneath it. Put a little bit of blue right underneath it. So I go straight into my really dark blue. I don't mix it at all. Wipe off a little bit on my plate. Wipe off a little bit on my plate, right? I just put a little bit of blue right underneath it. See how that works? A little bit of blue. Then I go into my white, you guys. I go into my white to create a little bit of wave coming off of it. And again, pressure matters, right? So I'm going really, really light with my brush. Really, really light. Don't need a lot of white in my brush. I'm going underneath the blue to create a little bit of a wave here. See? I'm not going all the way in front, a little bit behind. Meaning I'm starting like the middle of where the wave is. Right? Middle. And then like another little wave. Really, really, really small. Small. Right? I think that could be a little bit more vibrant. I could go into my blue. I can make that a little more vibrant right underneath here. You know, right next to the sailboat. A couple little pieces. Now what would happen if I got too much and I didn't like it? Just put your teal back in. Put your teal back in, right? Put your teal back in and minimize some of the white. Right? Okay. Cool. Now, the final thing, you guys can look at the sky. Remember, you can do those little tips that I was talking to you about where you can take a little bit of white. Take a little bit of white just on a couple of the clouds, like this one here. Take a little bit of white. Just on the tip, right? Just on the tip. And you can just bring it down just a little bit, not too much. Just a couple pieces, like here and here. Makes a big difference just having a little tips of light in there. Right? Nice and pretty. Okay. Cool. Hope you guys are enjoying. I know I am. Super fun. God, this ring light is so bright. It's like, oh my God, it's so bright. I feel like I'm in daylight and it's almost dark. Okay. Now again, I still don't have a lot of contrast in my water. Look at the master painting, how much contrast there is with that whitewash. Mine's still pretty flat. I have some whitewash in there, I do. A little bit, right? Right in here. But that can be a little bit lighter. Be a little bit lighter. I think I'd really like that. So I'm just gonna take my medium flat brush, this guy, right? I'm gonna take my medium flat brush here, and I'm gonna create that really light teal color again, right? My yellow. I'm just gonna add a ton of white. A ton of white to it. I want it just really, 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 really light. Okay, super, super light. And then wipe off the brush, you guys. Wipe it off on your towel. You don't want too much. You just want to be able to put in just a little bit of some whitewash in here. Just a little bit of some other colors, right? Right, just so everything starts to pop a little bit more. I could even add a little bit more white to that. Add a little bit more white to that. There we go. There we go. Really, really light. Just brush it in there. Brush it in. Just go really, really light and just brush it in. There we go. Now I'm starting to see the contrast in here, right? Starting to see the contrast my water there. I can continue on, you know, dry brushing a little bit right into that shore. You want it to blend. You want it to blend. So what happens is when you get these edges where it's not blending, see these edges here where it's not blending, I would take my teal and I would push it back. So I just make a little darker teal, right? Right? It's that blue with a little bit of yellow, right? What I would do is I would just take it, see these edges, and I would take the teal and I would just push it back. See how I'm pushing it back? See how it's softening? See? That's called a blend, but now all my edges are nice and soft. Okay? Now all my edges are nice and soft, which is cool. We want that. Here too, right? Like this guy here is just like a little odd. Right now I've got the nice blend in there. Got the nice Caribbean sky, highlights on my umbrellas, highlights on the clouds. We are done. Sad but true. You know what? Now that I'm done, I can escape into my painting and go get a tan. Because I need a little Caribbean love right now. I'm sure you do too. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me for another free virtual event. I had a blast. I hope you did too. We're going to post this on, this will show up on the paint page, and then we're also going to post it to YouTube. And again, remember we talked about the difference between a virtual event on Zoom, where we can interact together and see your paintings, as opposed to this. This is a little bit different, but at least shows you a little bit of the style and what we walk you through and what we do and some of the technique that we teach you. All right? So cool, you guys. If you don't have any more questions, I'm going to do one more toast to you. Salute. You have a wonderful evening and a wonderful rest of the night and tomorrow as well. And forever into eternity. Happiness, dreams come true. Salute. And I finish with love and light to everyone. Ciao.